Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 760. What a small circle. I thought she would contemptuously say that she doesn't like immature and incapable men, hinting that she isn't impressed with ordinary people. Who knew she can't even be bothered to answer this question? This sense of superiority will easily lead to a loss of control for subsequent advancements. Klein couldn't help but lampoon inwardly. From what he knew, Beyonders were only humans who had additional powers. It was equivalent to having plenty of money or status. In fact, they were still considered human and had no way of escaping human society. Only by reaching sequence 4 would one experience a qualitative change. Furthermore, most demigods continue being active in human society. Even the sequence 1 snake of fate will Osepton is being an obedient unborn fetus. Perhaps only at the level of Blasphemeramon and the others will they be able to view the real world as a god, Klein's mind whirred as he said, "I'm sorry. I was once a merchant who often spent time in the northern continent and southern continent, and I have had little experience with the ball. I mean this type of ball. It's fine," Hazel replied calmly as though she didn't care about the topic he had just raised. If it were anyone else, they would have been at a loss for a conversation with this arrogant lady. All they could do was focus on the dance, but Klein was considered quite a knowledgeable and experienced person at this point. He knew quite a bit of the different Beyonders in the mysterious world, so with his apology, he said with a smile, "This is a challenge that isn't simpler than the sea. It similarly has beautiful scenery but hides countless difficulties. Of course, the sea also has stories of all kinds of treasures. Some of them are clearly fake, but others sound rather realistic but are impossible to verify. It's just like Death's Key that's ranked first amongst them." Death's Key? Hazel looked up at Mr. Dwayne Dantes, who was a lot taller than her. Indeed, a Beyonder with a strong sense of superiority would often have their interest piqued when it's something that involves mystery. Klein chuckled inwardly, and he nodded gently. "Yes, it's rumored to be hidden somewhere in the Berserk Sea." He used the legends he had heard back when he was aboard the White Agate, as he added more of the details he had heard during his career as an adventurer. During this process, he couldn't avoid mentioning the 4 kings and the 7 pirate admirals. Hazel was clearly interested in these as she responded to Klein in a rare instance. She would even occasionally ask other questions, making the dance between them less awkward. Without realizing it, their dance came to an end. Klein skillfully ended the topic and switched to asking, "Do you plan on returning to where you were, or do you plan on heading over to get some food?" After a dance, the gentleman had to abide by the lady's wishes and send her to where she wished to go. It didn't have to be where she originally stood. Hazel opened her mouth as though she wished to ask further, but she ultimately didn't speak further. She nodded her head in a reserved manner. "Where I was. She clearly misses the stories at sea. She's just a big brat. As long as you grasp her temper and find what interests her, she's actually not difficult to interact with." Klein held back his smile as he sent Hazel back to the periphery of the dance floor where she previously stood. As for him, he acted casual as he walked to the long table that had all kinds of food placed on it. He picked up a plate and began to scoop a serving of pan-friend dragon bone fish, and he matched it with some sliced black pepper steak. Compared to the dance and entertaining others, food is the true essence of a gathering. As Klein thought, he worked hard at trying to make his appearance while eating appear elegant enough. At this moment, he saw Ma'am Mary walk over and fork a piece of foie gras soaked in red wine onto her plate. When Klein saw her glance at him, he politely smiled with a nod as a response. "How may I address you? I haven't met you before at the balls and banquets hosted by Member of Parliament mocked." Perhaps it was because of Dwayne Dantes's gray sideburns and deep blue eyes that were very charming. The ordinary-looking Ma'am Mary with slightly high cheekbones took the initiative to ask. Klein laughed and replied, "I'm a merchant who just returned from Desi Bay, Dwayne Dantes. I live on this street." "Ma'am, do I have the honor of knowing your name?" Mary nodded in thought, and she roughly understood this man to be a merchant who was trying hard to enter high society, just like she was previously. She said with a smile, Mary Schott, Coin Company's executive director. She didn't mention that she was the biggest shareholder of the Coin Company, or mention that she was a member of the National Atmospheric Pollution Council. This was a loan-styled euphemism. Mary Schott. She has taken up her original last name? Right, she has already divorced. Klein silently thought to himself and said with a smile, I know of this company. Its main business is in anthracite and high-quality coal. It has expanded rapidly in the past few months. To be frank, I have the intention of investing in it, but I don't seem capable of competing with the rest. After the atmospheric bills were passed, there was a drastic increase in the demand of anthracite and high-quality coal. Coin Company managed to develop itself in ways that exceeded its past efforts. Its overall valuation had already exceeded £250,000. Klein wasn't shooting his mouth when talking about investing, but that he believed that this industry would become even more important in the coming years until humanity found a resource to replace it. Mary had always been very proud of the National Atmospheric Pollution Report she pushed for, as well as the development of the Coin Company, so she couldn't help but smile when she heard that. This is because people are beginning to pay attention to the environment that they are living in. Having said that, she gently sighed and said, As it gets better, trouble also increases as a result. Having just acquainted himself, Klein didn't ask about the trouble. With his prior acquaintance with Ma'am Mary, he easily found a topic of interest and had a good conversation with her. Her attitude towards Sherlock Moriarty and Dwayne Dantes is very different. Despite being someone she knows, just a change in looks and identity will be given a brand new form of treatment without any problems arising. This feeling is truly magical. As they chatted, Klein felt wistful as he felt that the additional faceless potion he had consumed was quickly digesting. After a few minutes, a handsome man with bright blonde hair walked over with a cup of red wine. He smiled at Ma'am Mary and said, Mary, what are you talking about? Hibbert, this is Mr. Dwayne Dantes from Desi. His experiences at sea and West Balham are truly interesting. Mary immediately introduced the two. Dwayne, this is Mr. Hibbert Hall, the eldest son of the Earl of Eastchester. We should be calling him Lord, but he prefers people to address him as Mr. Chief Secretary. He's the Chief Secretary of the National Atmospheric Pollution Council. I've heard you mention him before. Of course, that was when the identity, Sherlock Moriarty, was still active. The Earl of Eastchester is a major noble in the nation. He's considered the top brass when it comes to high society. Klein politely bowed without appearing overly low. Please permit me to convey my thanks as an ordinary citizen. The work of the National Atmospheric Pollution Council has allowed us to live in better living environments. Hibbert Hall was rather pleased with such sincere gratitude, so he smiled in reply. This is all thanks to the hard work all of us have put in. By the side, Mary said with a smile, Dwayne, don't mention such matters again. You will make Hibbert arrogant. No, I was just joking. He's more humble than all the noble children I know. He should be having a vacation in the Eastchester County's fief at this time and spending his time hunting with his friends, but he immediately returned after I sent him a telegram informing him that I was invited to this ball by. Member of Parliament mocked. It's not only for this ball. There are many things that require my attention. My father, Earl Hall, would also frequently commute between Backland and our fief before June. Hibbert seriously explained. A gentleman who places great importance on his social image. Klein made a preliminary judgment. When Mary heard that, she asked in passing, Is there anything still keeping you back? When are you leaving Backland? Most of my work has already been completed. There's only one matter left. My sister, Audrey, is very interested in the Backland Bike Company's 10% shares. She hired a specialized team to help her in the negotiations, and I'm responsible for overseeing the matter. Hibbert said without much thought. Backland Bike Company's 10% shares? What a coincidence. I have to say that the circle of high society is quite small after all. Klein sighed inwardly as he deliberately mentioned. I also found a team to attempt to purchase the 10% shares, but I only managed to offer up to £9,000. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to compete with the other competitors and could only give up. Hibbert glanced at him with a look of surprise. You have good taste. He didn't mention how much his side's bid was, to prevent his competitor from participating again. £9,000! Mary silently muttered, realizing she had underestimated Dwayne Dante's wealth. At this moment, the music for the third dance sounded. Hibbert Hall turned to Mary and said, May I have the pleasure of a dance with you? That's what I've been waiting for. Mary immediately extended her hand. This made Klein unable to exchange name cards with them. However, he wasn't in a rush, because it was still some time before the ball ended. After getting another plate of food, he enjoyed it while looking at the dance floor, admiring the madams and ladies dancing. During this process, he noticed that Member of Parliament Mocked and Mariana were mingling with different guests from time to time, having happy conversations with them and even dancing with them. According to Walter, after confirming the guest list, the hosts need to seriously conclude every guest's preference and background, so as to tailor a different topic of conversation or jokes for them. This is to make everyone feel as though they are being treated uniquely. Socializing in high society sure is troublesome. This might be why Loanese gentlemen tend to have receding hairlines. Klein lampooned as he sighed in reflection. He retracted his gaze and looked at his cleared plate. He seriously considered if he should invite another lady or madam to a dance, or if he should eat a little more. At this moment, he caught Hazel Mock's figure through the corner of his eye. She was heading for the third story with hurried footsteps,